Hi Sala, I'm so excited to be sitting down with Rysanek. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. This is super exciting. I look forward to the next, hour. I think I don't look forward to the hours after that, but it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get started. So my first question is, I've been working in service a little bit for Joe, and as I come in and out of the office, I can't help but notice that you have a bike set up. Some sort of bike with some wires and a backboard. Tell me about this project.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we need to start with the hot sauce.
Oh shoot! I thought we didn't have to do that at all.
No.
We just look at it. All right. All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Ooh.
I'm a big fan of like sweet and spicy.
Yeah. Oh, you are. You guys start already on a 2.
Yeah.
So that bike project. So all professors, actually not all, because many Sala colleagues are much better than I am at completing projects they start. But that was actually my very first project I started as a side project, which isn't completed. So there's for the listeners at home, we have a bicycle on a stand with a whole bunch of copper pipes. And you might have seen at the bottom this kind of green thing that's connected to the shaft. Mm-hmm. That is a company in Montreal that makes sort of a reimagined version of like 19th century heat pumps. That used to, really kind of the heat pumps are air conditioners, but it's running on cranks and pulleys, and it's just super small. Small enough that the human power that can be output by a human can drive the heat pump. So that project with a grad student who took it almost to the end, and it's just up to me over the last 6 years to finish it, that's the near finished version of a human powered heat pump.
Whoa.
Whose only purpose is to bring it into our teaching, to get a sense of like how do you generate cold from like physical stuff moving. Because the only thing moving in that is your pedals, and yet compression, evaporation, running through 2 cycles of heating and cooling generates cold fluid out of thin air, seemingly. And it will be finished at some point. I mean, like 2035, probably, but it's almost done. But yeah, that's what he's on.
So you're not imagining a building with maybe like 10, 20, 30 people in a room, cycling to generate the building.
Times are getting tough.
Yeah.
And, if you think about summers in studio, we might need to add some pedals in the studio. No, I mean, part of that really, I with a few colleagues, we're pretty sure there's not many of these in North America, but 3 years ago in a science museum in the city of Brno in Czech Republic, they had on display in the science museum a human-powered heat pump that does exactly one. It's really an educational thing. I think I don't know if you or if anyone, when we want to ask someone, do you know how a heat pump works? How does it generate cold fluid out of like electricity and thin air? Even as an engineer trained here, I mean, I was well out of my degree before even I kind of got it. And so something like this is hopefully just to get us familiar with how heat pumps work, and that's all it is.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah. But it'll be finished soon. You remind me I should probably finish it while I'm on sabbatical. That's a good idea. You're really going to town. All right.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. This one's not bad.
It's not bad.
So, you teach both in engineering and in architecture, and you went to school as an engineer, and you worked as an engineer with architects. What is the biggest difference between teaching to engineering students versus architecture students, and who do you like better?
No, well, actually, that easy answers on both. I mean, I'm here going backwards, I'm here clearly for a reason. It's tied to kind of, thoughts around climate change and buildings, but maybe another way of saying it, this spectrum of architecture engineering is a spectrum that varies depending on where you go in the world. I mean, there's countries like in East Asia, Japan, where the dividing line when it comes to building construction between engineer and architect is much narrower than we're used to here. Europe is somewhere in the middle. I have the kind of Germanic background where it wasn't that much of a stretch pedagogically to work with an architect versus engineer. So, where do they differ? I mean, I think both fields clearly need and must use the word design to express their ideas. But clearly, design means something very different to these two fields.
Yeah.
And I don't know how else to go by it. I mean, you know, the level of really talent and kind of creative expression that students go on the design path, and some come with engineering degrees, but clearly that is a real pedagogical talent that is well differentiated from where I started really. I was a science kid. I mean, I always designed in mind, but I was like the science and math kid.
Yeah.
And went in that route. I think when I started a long time ago as a student, I wanted to go build airplanes. You know, as an aerospace engineer when I first started, before getting inspired by so many different things. An easy word to say is that folks like me exist in a lot of schools. I definitely probably wouldn't survive as a full-fledged engineer because I'm in this world and this is the world I love. Yeah. But I'm also not an architect, clearly, and so somewhere in the world I exist in these merkas of the two disciplines, somewhere in the middle, never knowing exactly where you are, but feeling pretty comfortable being stuck in the middle of it all.
Yeah. I think that's great.
I'm sweating even when I think about that. That's sort of the hot stuff.
Okay.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers. This one builds.
What a nice flavor.
Oh, it's not bad.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh man. Like, this is the one that starts the coughing.
Yeah.
So for the next one, we have Smash or Pass.
Oh, jeez.
And so I've chosen 6 buildings for you.
I
3
know this
concrete,
well.
since you love concrete buildings.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And then 3 that are like high performance buildings.
Okay.
First one, Tadao Ando's Church of Light, Smash or Pass.
Aw.
And why?
Yeah, well, it has to be. I mean, clearly, if anyone knows what I teach with respect to carbon, this is going to be a sort of hypocritical smash, but it's a clear smash. I mean, like other, contemporaries, you can go James Turrell as much as Ando. This, I still find if one is looking for inspiration around how light can completely contextualize a space just through the kind of play of apertures and shade and gradients, I mean, you can't go any further.
Okay, next one. Habitat 67.
No, yeah, I mean, so, you can go from this to then, like, say, the Jewel in Singapore. I mean, Moshe Safdie and his firm doing these kind of big, grand, like, biodomes. And, I mean, this is where my ability to, critique architecture gets limited, because I clearly know all the, once upon a time could cite all the great tenets of this from an architectural project, but I look at that from a surface area to volume ratio, and I see that as the worst possible inspiration for like the contemporary architect. Those buildings, especially in Montreal, there's an incredible amount of heating to just pull off that aesthetic, and then you ask yourself why. So I mean, I love, it has a huge role to play in the kind of history of architecture in Canada, but I hope there's a reason we might not see forms like this again. And that's it. It's a pass.
It's a pass.
It's a pass.
Okay, Sydney Opera House.
Well, that's a curious one. I mean, like, it's hard to, I don't know how you feel about it. I mean, when it comes to like buildings you just grow up seeing on a postcard. Yeah. I'm almost reacting to this like as a child, as opposed to any sort of contemporary kind of wisdom through my experience here. I don't know. Oh, that's a hard one. Yeah. I kind of want to ask you what you think. I mean, it's a smash. Clearly in defending how. I mean, actually, not unlike. Going back to experience in Singapore, I mean, all cities. I mean, you have the Museum of Civilization in Ottawa, you have the Opera House, you have the Harbourfront in Hamburg, you have the kind of Marina Bay Sands. Clearly, if you wanted to show how architecture can completely contextualize a city, whether the building is grand or not, but simply by nature of what that building communicates, look no further than the Opera House. You got to give that as a smash.
Yeah.
You're trying to inspire folks.
No, I agree. It's just so iconic.
It's iconic. There's no way it's a pass. It's a smash.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
2226.
oh, my favorite building. Yeah, I mean, 100% smash.
Okay.
Oh.
I heard that you're involved in this building.
Yeah, I wrote the proposal for Evolve. That was one of the in terms of projects that were completed. That was one of the first ones alongside the bicycle 7 years ago. It's a smash building with some like pass issues. So the building has European tilt-turn windows, which are hugely important for passive design.
Yeah.
But it's also a building situated in Vancouver where all developers and property managers are totally anxious around windows that, no matter how high up they are, that can open and a child can fall out, which are, sensible worries because we don't have the same, cultural experience with windows apparently the way the Europeans do and much of the world. So, ironically, that building has had some challenges with overheating like many passive house buildings do. And it's a smash, a great learning lesson. We'll see if we see any more like it, but definitely a smash.
Yeah, great. Okay, final one.
Oh, SIRS.
The building you spend so much time in.
Yeah, SIRS. I mean, also, it's a Center for Interactive Research on Sustainability. SIRS, my office, your office, office of several faculty. That's also a pathway. And I know the architects and the engineers who behind that building relatively well. Well, my career. Here's this anecdote about her. My career at Sala started in this building in 2012. I was a PhD student that was in Vancouver for a limited amount of time, and I just happened to have a visiting desk in the building, and somebody told me, well, you should speak to the director of the building. His name is Ray Cole, who's a professor in Sala. He teaches environmental systems, but if you remember Ray Cole, his career is well, I mean, and I knew of him already at that time, long-standing career, and yet, I met him and learned enough about him there, but at that time, I think I was finishing up the 6 months, and I had opportunity to go to Montreal for a faculty position or this weird project in Singapore on a construction project, which I didn't know if that would kill my career or not. But I remember going and meeting Ray, and we didn't have many conversations, but he just seemed like somebody you'd want to ask advice to. Told him, I don't know, what do you think somebody in this situation should do? And he just said, go do the crazy thing. I did, and it was his position that created mine. So all that building will forever be locked into my entire history at Sala. I'll meet you. I'll exceed. Just
Okay.
all right. Cheers. Oh, that's Sichuan. That gets you right at the end.
Oh no. Oh no.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that's spicy.
So speaking of Ray Cole, you kind of took over his position
Sure.
in this sort of lineage of regenerative design, but you've also kind of made it your own thing. And then at the faculty roundtable this past week, you asked some hard-hitting questions about how we should approach sustainability in light of all of these other societal problems, and if we should be looking at other solutions or looking at what we're already doing.
Yeah.
What is your kind of thoughts on how we should approach sustainability moving forward?
So, great question. Time has a large role in influencing kind of what I feel today is more urgent than, say, in the past. 20 years ago, I was that student from the Al Gore Inconvenient Truth generation inspired to pivot a career on what was a scientific, kind of objectively scientific, and yet clearly major issue facing the planet for the coming century. And the science of this, and in fact the mix between science and politics, I'm like the only engineer in a family of public servants, there was something that somehow just attracted me to this. But the point was, at the time, that was coming later in my undergraduate training, and as it did for many in my generation. I mean, climate change wasn't new. There were clearly, we had policies like the Kyoto Protocol. It had been already decades old, but you had professors like Ray Cole and his contemporaries that had a huge role to play in completely inspiring students who initially had no connection to this issue to completely change their frame of mind and pursue it as a career. And if there's any reason why Vancouver has kind of architectural leadership on sustainability, you would have to look to that time and just the amount of students inspired by the period of time. What I know in our current generation is you and your contemporaries are coming to university already with concern, knowledge, and a care about this issue that I don't need to worry about introducing. Now it's much more about the how. And comments I gave a few weeks ago, or maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, is about even my own changing on the how. I mean, and it's not, I don't have views that are in support or not, but it's a great time, I think, for your generation to think about how even differently than the past. All right, cheers.
This one doesn't even taste good. It's so spicy.
Doesn't taste good. Initially I was like, oh, I'll be fine. Yeah.
How do you stay mentally well? How do you not find yourself just incredibly depressed, having to talk and face the reality of the doom and gloom of climate change?
Well, I mean, deep down, climate change doesn't exist. And, you know, it's all a fallacy.
Yeah.
Well, it's strange because as I get older, I'm slightly less nihilistic about this, and I don't know why. I mean, there's a few things. In North America, we might be in some crazy times. Unfortunately, the rest of the world, fortunately, unfortunately, for the sake of climate, slowly but surely, the entire planet is moving in a more righter direction. Much slower, yes, but there are quote-unquote green shoots. Politically in North America, it seems impossible to really feel that way because we have a completely different thing happening south of us, even economically in Canada. But if you're looking at the kind of global trends, it's going to be bad, but maybe we'll stave off the apocalypse. Another addition to that is when I was in that era being influenced by all these academics on climate change, I did a course at Queen's on energy policy. I was taught by then former kind of provincial official in charge of energy policy for the province. And through his connections, he was able to bring a lot of speakers to the class, and we had a speaker who I think at the time was an industry leader in a French nuclear firm that was looking to sort of build more nuclear plants in Canada. And in one sentence, he articulated what a lot of kind of some of the scientific literature on climate change seemed to suggest for Canada. Is like, you know, we're all here in Canada, and like, would you really complain if you didn't have to shovel your driveways as much in the wintertime? Now, clearly, you add that and like a record forest fire setting and say that it might take the shoveling of the snow. But there is, you know, we're very fortunate. I think that's probably a way of saying it. Despite everything really, really bad, we remain fortunate to be in Canada, despite how even hard hit Canada has been with climate. If we're nihilistic, then there really is no hope for the planet.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to get hit as hard as other places. So in that sense, maybe there's some reason to not only keep hope alive, but also not to dwell in the nihilism of all this and be productive, do good work. Even if the work may not feel like it's contributing right away to climate, our role is to just steady the ship as much as we can economically and do whatever we can on this climate issue, not to give up all hope, because that will impact the countries we care about even more.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'm not gonna buy that one.
Yeah. We have for you, but we have
Amazing.
a little tray.
Thank
and
you
for
very
everyone,
much.
you
Wow.
get one.
Do I get one golden lane?
You get 5, but you get to pick if you want drums
Drums?
or flats.
Really cool.